Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about money management tactics. And here's what we'll go over. We'll talk about using correct position sizes, managing risk, expectancy, and also compartmentalization of funds. So let's get started. Now, when you're talking about taking trades, you first have to decide what amount you're going to risk per trade. Remember, in order for us to become professional traders, we have to think about risk first, profits next. We have to think about, if the trade goes against us, how much can I potentially lose? I know traders that risk as much as 4 to 5% per trade. However, the standard that I've seen for the most part is only 2 to 3%. Now you may ask, okay, why do we risk this amount? Well, we're thinking about risk, and in order for us to stay in the game, we have to have capital. So in that regard, we have to think of it in terms of, if I lose, how many times can I afford to lose before I'm out of money? Well, only trading at 2% per trade, I would have to be wrong 50 times in a row in order to lose all my money. Now, if I have a mediocre system and follow my trading plan, that shouldn't happen. I shouldn't take 50 losses in a row. When we're using correct position sizes, next, when we're taking a trade, we'll need to know how to calculate our position size. Let's say that you have an account size. For this example, let's say you have an account size of maybe $1,000 and that your risk is 2% per trade. That means you're risking $20 a trade, and that's 2% times 1,000. Now let's say that you have a stop loss of 30 pips. To get your position size, you would need to divide your stop loss into your risk per trade. For example, the $20 is divided by the 30 pips, and we get 67 cents. So now we know that we can trade 0.67 micro lots on our trade, because each pip is going to be worth 67 cents. If you don't know what a micro lot is, a micro lot is equivalent to 10 cent per pip. One micro lot is equivalent to 10 cent per pip on any pair that ends in USD. A mini lot is equivalent to $1 per pip, and a standard lot is equivalent to $10 a pip. All those currencies are in USD. Other currencies like exotic, it fluctuates, but even some brokers, they have what's called nano lots, where a nano lot is equivalent to 1 cent per pip. Okay. Now, in order to have that small of a lot size, you'll need to trade through a broker that allows micro lots. If the broker doesn't allow micro lots and your account size will take too much risk to trade in larger sizes, then you should move to a broker that will fit your needs. Move to a broker that will allow you to manage risk the way that you want to. If you have $1,000 account and you're taking, large stop losses at $1, then obviously you're going to be taking on more risk than you could with maybe taking a micro lot and multiplying those, where you can get your risk management to where you want it to. Now, here's one of the great things about the FXDB system, though. You don't have to ever wonder what your position size should be. It's already calculated for you in the window on the charts, and you can change the risk setting to whatever your strategy requires. So if you want to change it to 3%, 4%, 1%, you can do that, and we show you how to do that in the adjusting the settings video. Now let's talk about managing risk. When you're managing risk, you have to decide how you're going to manage trades and manage your money. One money management tactic that you'll learn in the Insider Code Kit is to take 70 to 80% off the table when the market has moved 20 pips plus the spread, and leave the rest to trail the bigger move. So whenever the market moves 20 pips in profit plus whatever your spread is, you take 70 to 80% off the table and leave the rest to trail the move. That's one tactic. Now this can be useful, especially in having a system where you don't have a static stop, meaning that when you enter the market, you don't have a set stop that you use all the time, 35 pips or 37 pips or 25 pips or something like that, but it's constantly changing. That's called a dynamic stop. So when the market moves, you can still stay in the trade while pocketing some early profits and reducing risk. Now, you will ultimately have to find what works for you. You'll have to decide how you want to manage your money. Once you do decide and have a strategy in place, then the next thing to do is to develop a sense of expectancy in your trade. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about expectancy. Now, we talked about using correct position sizes and managing risk. Now we need to start tracking our trades. Now you may ask why. Because this way we'll be able to see our win-loss percentage and have a good idea of how profitable our trading is. Once we learn this through tracking our trades, then it's basically just a matter of seeing whether or not we are profitable enough to see an increase in our account. If we find that on average we can generate a nice monthly return, then it just becomes a matter of how much we can dump into our system. In the templates video, I do give you a way of tracking your trades and even show you where you can go to get a free document suite to manage everything. So make sure you take a look at that. Now also when trading, we have to think like a casino. Now the casinos, they know that they're not going to win every bet, but they have learned to be great statisticians. They have basically learned how to turn the odds in their favor while decreasing and managing risk. That's how we have to think. Now here's another thing. They also know that as long as they can keep playing while managing risk, they can turn a profit consistently. And this is how we have to approach our trading. We have to become great statisticians, know where we can make a profit at, know where we have an edge at, and then knowing how to turn a profit consistently. That's what we must do when we approach our trading. Now let's talk about compartmentalization of funds. If you have a number of strategies that you like to use when trading, then it's probably best to compartmentalize your money to manage all those different strategies. If you don't understand what I mean by that, then let me explain. Let's say that you want to swing trade and scalp the market. Now let's say that for the sake of this example, you have an account size of $3,000. Let's also say that maybe you position trade or use some other method as well. If you're risking 2% per trade, then you would wind up risking $60 a trade, because 2% of $3,000 comes to $60. Now that's fine, but what happens when you start trying to do all the different trade methods at once? Well, either you shouldn't do them or you should compartmentalize your money. And to make matters worse, what if you were doing the different methods on different currency pairs all at once? Well, now risking only 2% per trade by having 3 trades open can result in losing 6% of your account if all 3 trades go against you. And if you lose 10 times in a row, then that can quickly add up to a 60% loss very quickly. So what's the solution? Simple: compartmentalization. Instead of taking the $3,000 and using it for all methods, you would divide those funds up for each method. So for example, if you had 3 methods, then only use $1,000 per method and trade that $1,000 at 2%. So instead of risking $60 per trade, you would still only be risking $20 per trade. That way you can track your progress and see what works well for you over time without blowing out your account. Once you have the data in front of you and see that maybe scalping is better for you than swing trading, then you can divert extra funds to that. And if you see that trading the US dollar Swiss franc is better with your method than trading the euro yen, then you can move more of your funds to trading that currency pair. Now, if you're trying to do all that out of one account, it can get a little messy. But without making it too messy, some brokers will allow you to open sub accounts or multiple accounts and connect them all together through one account. That way, when you're ready to trade a particular method, you can just select the account that corresponds with that method and place the trade. You'll then be able to distinguish your results better without having to wonder what method made you money and which one didn't. If you want to know if your broker allows that, just check with them and see if they offer you that solution. Now remember that we want to be able to stay in the game as long as possible. In order to do that, we need capital. This is just another way to help you manage your money and manage risk. Well, that's it for this section. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next video now.